training baseball this afternoon from the Space Coast. A full house expected to watch the Nationals as they prepare to defend the division title. Jordan Zimmermann gets us started against the Tigers on Masson. Welcome to Space Coast Stadium for a Wednesday afternoon of spring baseball. The Nats and the Detroit Tigers, couple of teams with October aspirations. And we get Jordan Zimmermann today, the first time he appears on Masson since you know what happened on the last day of last season. And the ball driven to left center. Souza. He's got it! He's got it! It's a no-hitter for Jordan Zimmermann.
Total domination all day long from Jordan Zimmermann, and it ends on the most unbelievable play you could possibly imagine.
And there was the no-hitter. That was your line. I had to steal it. That was such an amazing day. Jordan on the mound today, and FP really, when you think about the offseason, once Max Scherzer came over here, and maybe even before he did, this rotation, a lot of the talk in baseball.
Yeah, all the talk in baseball. And Jordan Zimmermann, for me, still the anchor of this staff, especially with what he accomplished last year. When you talk about having less walks than the number of starts, 32 starts for Jordan Zimmermann last year, just 29 walks versus 102 strikeouts. So he's looking to build on that this year, and we get to see him today, and we can't wait.
And really, it's time to forget about talking about contracts and impending free agency. Time to go out and play ball.
It is. I mean, just go out there and get the job done and get your work in. That's the thing. I mean, we're excited to see Jordan Zimmermann and the no-hitter stuff that he had the last game of the season, but he's got to get his work done just like everybody else and build up for his first start.
Nationals still facing some injury issues here and there. Nothing major news since last week, but today here at Space Coast Stadium, hey, they could meet in October. Who knows? Detroit and Washington. Minutes ago, Jason Worth bringing out the Nats lineup card. He was greeted nicely by the crowd here. They were happy to see him out there. One guy we will not see is the leadoff man and third baseman today, Dan Coco.
Anthony Rendon, originally written in as the leadoff hitter and third baseman today. Now he's sitting in front of me with a hoodie on his head right in front of our camera, terrorizing us by tossing baseballs in front of the camera. Matt Williams said earlier today that Rendon banged his knee the other day, making that tremendous diving stop to his left and throwing over to first. A little bit of swelling in there, so the Nationals are going to give him a day or two off, and he's going to sit here with a big smile on his face. Nothing really to worry about, though. Rendon should be fine, and he should be back in the lineup sooner rather than later, guys.
Yeah, that was a spectacular play that he teamed up with Ryan Zimmermann on the other day right here. Anthony hitting .222 with a couple of hits and 9 at-bats this spring. So here we go. Jordan Zimmermann, 28 years of age, against the Tigers. First pitch right on time, 1:05 here in Central Florida for a strike to Rajai Davis. And here's Jordan. 32 starts, 3 complete games, 14 wins last year, a career record of 57 and 40.
Yeah, if you missed it in the open, 182 strikeouts, just 29 walks last year, finished 5th in the National League Cy Young. Fastball average 94, slider, curveball, and change to go with it.
Challenge fastball in on the hands. Well, the sun in and out today. There's possible rain in the forecast for later. Right now, the sun is out, 81 degrees. The wind is blowing straight in from left field today. A little bit of a reversal as it comes up from the south. Swing and a foul tip and a strikeout. Raj Davis has Jordan Zimmermann throw the ball right by him. Alex Avila will follow their catcher. And then one of their big pickups right behind Avila, and Alex has been solid the last few years, Yoenis Cespedes. You put him in a lineup with Miguel Cabrera, look out. So their first 3 guys are the headliners. They filled in the other 6. Tigers over here from Lakeland, they have a record of 5-3. The Nationals are 3-3 so far, and 2-1 here at Space Coast. Alex Avila, 2 for 6 with an RBI this spring. 218 for the Tigers last year, 47 RBIs in 124 games. So he's 28 years of age now. Paul Nart has the plate today. Gary Cederstrom, Hunter Wendelstedt, Andy Fletcher will be rotating around the bases. Zimmermann, a strike thrower to start this one. That ball to the screen.
They're starting to develop quite a reputation around the National League. When you talk to opposing hitters, they all talk about that Jordan, with all the guys on this staff, is the guy they least like to face.
Took him a while to pass Levon. Now the staff leader all-time with the Nationals franchise at 57. He's made 145 career starts in 6 years. That's a swing. Andy Fletcher punching out Avila from third base way. 2 down. Avila didn't like the call.
It didn't look like he went. We'll see it from the side. Still doesn't look like he went, and he had a legitimate gripe. Doug Fister, Carp, also had more starts than walks last year. It's the first time 2 teammates have done that since 2005.
Very impressive.
More starts than walks. And don't forget, Fister missed a month.
Here's Yoenis Cespedes, who had 17 homers, 67 driven in for the A's. Traded him to Boston, where he had 269 in 51 games with 33 RBIs. And many observers in the American League think that was the start of the end for the Athletics.
Hey, check out the defense for the Nats today. Moore, Robinson, Harper, your outfield. Desmond Franzen, left side of the infield. Defoe, Zimmermann, right side. Wilson Ramos behind the plate. Kevin Franzen getting out at third. We told you why.
In the air to right. Now the ball's going to really be pushed over into the seats. On a normal day here, that ball's deep in the right field corner, probably fair. But that wind is really whipping in from beyond the scoreboard in left field. It's Willie whipping in, too.
Yeah.
Announcers still trying to get their work in.
Yeah.
R's and W's of particular concern at this time of the year.
I've had Max Scherzer practice myself at home in my living room.
0-2 pitch. There's the breaking ball, blocked by Wilson Ramos. Zimmermann in the spring, 2 innings, 2 2/3 now. 2 strikeouts, a walk, a hit, no runs given up yet. And a ball in the air to left. That's not going anywhere today. Under it, Tyler Moore. 1, 2, 3 for Zimmermann with a couple of Ks. And a fly ball to the left fielder. That's hitting 276 in the spring. Offense next. All decked out in Nats gear today. I wonder how much that ball cap weighs. Washington hitting 276. Ryan Zimmermann, always great against left-handers. He gets to see David Price today. In the spring, he's 2 for 8. Bryce Harper in front of him, the expected 3-4 combination this year. Ian Desmond behind Wilmer, Defoe, and then starts for Ramos, Moore, Uggla, the DH, Franzen, and Derek Robinson. Here's David Price, 29 years of age, 86-game career winner with a 3.21 ERA, and that's telling you something when he's pitched in the American League. Wilmer Defoe goes up swinging, and he's going to have himself a couple of bags here. That ball sneaking by Jeffrey Marte at third base.
Right through base hit up there already. There goes the no-hitter.
And young Mr. Defoe is 5 for 10.
Yeah, not waiting around. You see Marte playing in on the grass. Defoe hits the ball by him. And with his speed, that's an easy leadoff double for the Nats second baseman.
David Price, last year, 248 innings combined with Tampa Bay and Detroit.
It's a horse. Sort of upstaged his first spring training start. He faced Matt Harvey, so it was Matt Harvey Day in St. Lucie, but he pitched 2 scoreless innings, did a nice job.
And Desmond goes up hacking, so Price has thrown 2 pitches, and both guys swinging. Last time we saw Ian Desmond here on Masson Monday, he was hitting in the number 5 spot. Number 2 today, behind Defoe and right ahead of Bryce Harper. Thinking about right field, David Price went 11-8 for the Rays last year. 23 starts in a very good American League ERA of 3.11. Went 4 for 4 with a 3.59 in 11 starts down the stretch for the Tigers. And he's pitched a couple of scoreless, hitless innings in the spring until Defoe got that double down the third base line.
Carp, these are the situations the Nats have to be great at all season long, whether it's the first inning or the 8th inning, moving a leadoff double. And you see Ian Desmond right there, even with 2 strikes, trying to get his hands inside the ball. But the reason I say that is last year they were streaky at it. Times they were good, times they weren't. And at this level, and with this pitching staff, little things like this become so important.
Well, and your point about even early in the game is so well taken. You give one of these guys a run or 2 early.
Yep.
you're going to win a lot of games.
And this is just, I mean, it's not as easy as it looks to go up there when you have a lefty throwing hard on the inner half to fight a ball off to the right side.
0-2 to Desmond again. Yeah, you know, guys are trying to bust him here. That pitch is outside, but he threw it far enough outside. No really reason for Ian to offer at it. 1 ball, 2 strikes. So there's the 86 wins, 11 complete games, 2 career shutouts. Most wins, he went 20-5 with the Rays 3 years ago. In the dirt, it gets away, and Defoe over to third easily. Turning into a good at-bat for Ian Desmond here. As the count goes to 2-2, now Ian can think about RBI.
Well, it's just he takes this pitch because he's thinking right side. If Ian Desmond's thinking pull right here, he might pull right off this pitch, but he's thinking about moving the ball. Defoe does a nice job of advancing. And another reason, Carp, why these situations are so big, moving runners, picking runners up, you can run into your share of homers over 162 games. But when you get into October baseball, the little things against staffs that are going to be, you know, some of the best in baseball become... That's how you win in October. Moving runners, picking up guys from third. I think we all saw it with the Giants last year. That's how they won a World Series.
Ian Desmond, 1 RBI this spring. 3 hits, 11 at-bats. On a pitch up, he couldn't stop. Umpire at home called him out. Didn't even need the appeal. And that's 1 down.
So the defense for the Tigers behind David Price today. Cespedes, Goss, Davis the outfield. Perez, Marte left side. Wilson, Leonardson right side. And Alex Avila behind the plate.
Brad Osmus, outstanding big league catcher. We talked about this last year. Matt Williams and Brad Osmus and Mike Matheny right before them. Rookie managers who were handed really, really good baseball teams.
Right.
Now the infield comes in with 1 out. They're hoping Price can somehow overmatch Harper and get him to hit one on the infield. Price 1 for 6, looking for his first RBI.
Let it rip.
Price wearing a shin guard there on the front foot, batting left-handed against a nasty lefty here. He's got that thing turned toward the inside to keep foul balls away from the inside of that right foot. Up in the zone, 1 ball, 1 strike. David Price, a 4-time All-Star. Cy Young Award winner when he went 20-5 with a 256 for the Rays 3 years ago. But he's made the All-Star team 4 of the last 5 years.
I'm kind of rooting for a fly ball to left right here with Defoe's speed and Cespedes' arm. I want to see this. Remember the throw he made last year in Oakland? Might have been in Anaheim against the Angels down the corner. He threw it all the way from the wall on a fly to home plate. So I want to see a potential sac fly to left. That's what I'm rooting for right here. He bobbled it a couple times, picked it up, and threw it basically the length of a football field right on the money.
2-1 to Harper. Bryce leans back from that, ball 3.
But you tell his approach right here, it's a good one in the sense that he's kind of trying to get his hands inside the baseball, even though he hasn't fired off a swing. The last few pitches, he's trying to go to the left, it looks like. Maybe with a 3-1 count, he might change a little bit right here, but so far the approach has been good.
Target away. Harper's helmet came off on a ball breaking away from him, and the count's full.
Kind of did change his approach. Got ahead in the count, tried to do a little damage, swung right out of his lid. See if he goes back to that left field thought process here in a full count.
David Price, one of those guys, runner at third, no outs, 1 out, tough to score against. outside. 94 on that ball cutting away. 2 on, 1 out. They're at the corners for Ryan Zimmermann. Ryan is 2 for 8. Had an extended conversation with him this morning around the cage, and he says he's really feeling good about things over at first base. He said the other day when Rendon made that play, he said, you know, they used to hit bullets at me at third base. Now they're throwing bullets at me at first base. And I said, yeah, you've got some live arms on this infield. But Ryan, he made an interesting comment. He said, as long as you don't get lazy with your feet over at first base, you'll be fine. He just wants to make sure that he's in every pitch. You know, he doesn't take anything off, no time off at all, because as a first baseman, really any infielder, you got to be ready. Balls to your feet.
That's true at any position.
Anytime. But it is interesting how guys who play first base, so much of it is the footwork. And then you can drive in some runs as well. Zimmermann, first RBI of the spring. To third is Harper. Bryce thought about heading for home. The Nats are on top with a pair of doubles around a walk.
Yeah, wearing out the left field line, maybe on that David Price cutter, trying to get in on Ryan Zimmermann, pulls it past Marte at third base. And I guarantee if you ask Bob Henley, hindsight being 20/20, if he knew that Cespedes was going to hold this ball as long as he did, he could have wheeled Harper right there. But with 1 out, Cespedes had the ball in his hand. He just kind of held it. And you see Bryce kind of take a double look right there. If he'd have kept rolling, he'd have been safe. But there's no way that Henley could have known what was going to happen.
Bryce, hair flying between second and third. And a big spot for Wilson Ramos to do some early damage. Wilson 1 for 7. Pretty good hack. And with Avila setting up away, Ramos is going to get an RBI. They went to third in front of Ryan Zimmermann to get that runner over there, but Ramos will drive in his first run of the spring, and the Nationals lead 2-0.
Ryan Zimmermann, one of the better base runners on the Nats. We've seen that throughout the years. I'm wondering if he thought there might have been 2 outs right there. That's a mistake you don't see him make very often, going a ball hit directly in front of him at second base. Nice job by Ramos of picking up the RBI, but you could just tell by the way Ryan was kind of trotting right there that maybe he was thinking there was 2 outs. That'll happen early in the spring.
6-5 on the fielder's choice. So Ramos at first and Tyler Moore the hitter. Tyler, he's cooled off. He's only hitting .545.
Send him down.
6 for 11. And every one of those hits for extra bases. 4 doubles, a triple, a homer.
I watched him hit in the cage today, too, and I just like the approach and what he's doing a little different this year, standing more upright. There's a lot more balance throughout his swing. Letting the ball travel a little bit deeper toward the catcher, not really trying to go out and get it. And you see him see it right there on a foul ball that really wasn't a good pitch, not falling all over the place, just standing right there after he's done swinging.
Go-to count. Long inning for David Price. Guys have been hacking early. Bryce Harper worked him for a walk. Yeah, 22 already. took a little bit off. They change up 77 outside. Either that or a curveball that didn't turn over.
Yeah, it was a curveball, just didn't come back. Kind of rushing, flying open on the off speed. That's why the Nats are just looking dead red, sitting on his fastball all the way.
One and two the count with 2 down. There's a breaking ball that comes back, and Tyler able to foul it away. Tyler Moore only 91 at-bats at the big league level last year.
Good crowd here today.
Yeah, different kind of day. Cloudy. Sun in and out. Breeze has shifted. Ballpark will play big and left. We've already seen that on the fly ball Cespedes hit at the top of this inning. And David Price trying to buzz the inside corner. Missed with it. Counts even. Matt Williams scheduled to join us live here on Masson next inning.
Tell you what, just being down here for almost a week now, he's far more relaxed than he was a year ago. Everybody talking about how loose camp is, guys having fun, getting their work in. I know you hear that often, but he's at ease.
Well hit right center. Hanging up for a long, long time and caught by Anthony Gose after a very long run. Tyler Moore on another day, a normal day in Vieira, that's probably a home run. The Nats get a couple here in the first. Stadium on 2-3, top of the first inning for Jordan Zimmermann. Matt Williams kind enough to join us. Matt, we were just talking about you right before we went to break there about the difference between last spring training for you and this year. What's the difference from your standpoint?
No, I think it's just knowledge of the guys, knowledge of the way spring training runs. You know, anytime it's your first time, you're the new guy, you don't really know how it's going to run. So we have a little bit of knowledge of that, and most importantly, I know the fellas, so that helps a lot.
And I have to think that last year your coaching staff was an incredible amount of help to you in that department.
Yeah, they were. They had exclusive knowledge of these guys. Coached many of them in the minor league system and helped me out a lot with that because I just didn't know them. So it was a lot of long nights with Randy and Bob Henley, both myself and Mark Wiedemeyer, getting to know these guys and what makes them tick. So they were a great help.
Matt, any concern at all about Anthony Rendon? Is that just kind of a bump from that play he made the other day?
Yeah, just the dive. He made a diving play the other day to his left and bumped his left knee a little bit, so it swelled up. There's no issue, but we're just being cautious at this point, making sure that he doesn't aggravate it in any way, but he's fine.
Tyler Collins, the DH, thrown out by Wilmer Defoe.
Well, I can tell you're already a veteran skipper in your second year. You agreed to do an interview in the top of the second with Jordan Zimmermann on the mound, so you knew there'd only be about 3 questions.
Well, it is Jordan Zimmermann, so it's all about timing. Timing is everything, knowing that he's going to pound the strike zone, so get a couple of questions out of the way and get you guys back to your work.
Speaking of timing, Matt, you want your guys to have that timing to be locked in as you guys head north. As a former player, you know how that goes. Do you just listen to guys, especially from an offensive standpoint? Hey, skipper, I'm good, and then kind of give them at bats accordingly from there? Yeah,
we have a plan going in, so we know exactly what everybody's thinking going into spring training as far as an at-bat standpoint. It can adjust either way depending on how they're feeling, but we know, as an example, Zim wants about 60 at-bats. So we're going to try to get him there at the same time, keep him as fresh as possible. And, he's got to play a lot of innings at first base, too, to get accustomed to that. So we take all that into account and try to get him the number of at-bats that he needs, give or take 5 or 6, and get him ready to go.
Jordan Zimmermann, first inning, 14 pitches, 10 strikes. Facing the first baseman, Jordan Lennerton. Matt, your observations in the clubhouse, on the field so far, of Max Scherzer?
Well, he's unique. We can say that. He's extremely funny. He's got a quick wit. But when he steps between the lines, it's a different cat. So I really like the way he goes about his business out there. As an example, yesterday he had pretty much reached his pitch limit, but he wanted one more guy to get out of an inning, so he'll dictate to us a little bit in that regard. He's a veteran guy, brings a lot of hardware with him, so we're glad to have him.
Steven Strasburg hanging with him on the rail there. And Matt, of course, the Denard Span situation now this week, and some dominoes fall within the organization with guys moving up after something like that. How do you feel about Michael Taylor in center field?
Well, Mike's going to get a lot of the playing time. A late addition to camp. Tony Gwynn Jr. as well will get some time, too. But Michael is a little bit behind the 8 ball, if you will. He had a neck issue early, and his throwing program is not where he would want it to be. So we're being cautious with him. He's playing every other day right now and doing his program in between to make sure that his throwing arm is good. Hit a long home run the other day against the Wind. So I think his swing is fine right now. It's just a question of making sure that his arm's good to go before we do him back-to-back.
Matt, there's always somebody every year in camp that opens a manager's eyes and organization's eyes. Is there anybody that you'd like to mention that's really kind of stood out to you so far?
Well, we put Blake Trinan in a situation the other day, something that he's really not used to. He came in the middle of an inning with a guy on first base and did exactly what he was supposed to do. It's a turbo sinker. And in that regard, he handled the situation really well. He pitched another inning after that, but that's potential for us. You never know. If we call for that type of situation, we'll get him in there a game again here as we go through spring, and see how he handles that too. The plan right now is still to treat him as a starter and get his pitch limit up in case we need him in that regard. But he handled that middle of the inning stint just fine.
And Matt, your thoughts on Tyler Moore? Mr. Extra Base hit right now.
He hasn't hit a single yet. He had a great winter ball, and he came into camp ready to go and extremely focused. So he's getting a lot of playing time out there with Jason being late. And, his at-bats are phenomenal. So we know with Tyler, the more at-bats he gets, the more comfortable he gets. Over the last couple of years, he really hasn't had much opportunity to do that. But right now, he looks really good.
If you could take one thing away from last year that you learned your first go-around as a major league manager and apply it to this year, what would it be?
Well, sometimes you just got to step out of the way. We have this plan, and that plan is great until things go a little sideways. And oftentimes, you just got to let the players play, and they will dictate terms on the field. With this group, I have no problem doing that. They know how to handle business.
Wind blowing this ball down the right field line. A long way to go. And Bryce Harper unable to get to it. We talked about that breeze roaring in from left field, and Bryce simply could not catch up with that ball. It's a 2-out triple for the shortstop, Hernan Perez. Hey, Matt, how's Jason Worth doing? He was obviously healthy enough to bring out the lineup card today.
Yeah, he wanted to take it out. He'd never done it before, so he wanted to take it out today. He's swinging the bat a little bit. He's throwing the baseball a little bit. That's part of his rehab progression, and we expect him to start taking swings off a tee here pretty soon, continue the throwing, and hopefully get him back as quickly as possible. We really have no time frame on it right now, but he feels good, and if he wakes up tomorrow feeling good, he'll step it up a little bit and continue that progression.
Hey, Matt, I don't know if you could see it from your angle right there, but that's a ball that Bryce Harper lays out for during the season, and he made a nice effort for it, but he didn't lay out for it. You talk about him playing hard and smart. I think that's a good example of it right there.
That is a good example. We want him to get 600 at-bats. He's going to play the way he plays, fellas. That's the way it is. But there are times when he can be smarter about it. He's expressed concern about being smarter about it. During the season, for sure, his uniform's dirty when he comes in. But right now, in spring training, he wants to get his legs underneath him and make sure he can make it to opening day, and hopefully 600 at-bats after that.
No balls and 2 strikes. Jordan Zimmermann to the third baseman, Jeffrey Marte. Nats on top 2-0 here. That's right in there. Innings over. Matt, we appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
You want to say hi to Madison and Erica real quick?
I'd love to say hello. They're going to be down here next week. But, guys, I love you. I'll see you soon. Thank you.
We love you too, Matt.
Thank you.
Years, 10th anniversary for the Nationals, and this season will celebrate all year long. Fun giveaways, events, special occasions, 5 bobbleheads, each representing a magical moment in Nats history. The Jason Worth Chia Pet, the Anthony Rendon Garden Gnome, and events like 10-year Tuesdays, and we can't wait for Star Wars Day. Tickets going fast. Nationals.com. Bottom of the second underway with the DH, Dan Uggla. He's 2 for 8 with a pair of RBIs.
RBI double yesterday.
Nats were down in Jupiter playing the Marlins. Tomorrow, they'll be in Port St. Lucie against the Mets. Steven Strasburg will go. A.J. Cole, Aaron Barrett, Casey Janssen scheduled to follow him. And then they'll be back here on Friday with Doug Fister against the Astros. We will be back with you next Monday against Houston.
I'll tell you what, spring training becomes Groundhog Day for players, especially here when you're playing the Mets and the Marlins and the same teams every single day. At least in Arizona, you get to see different colored uniforms every day. You're playing different teams.
Wait till the Nats go to West Palm. It'll be Cardinals, Astros, Marlins, and Mets, all within, 45, 50 minutes of each other.
Well, at least it'll be closer, but it'll still be Groundhog Day.
Although from down there, you can make a trip right across over to Fort Myers and catch the Red Sox and the Twins over there, which you really can't do from here. Of course, you can't really go from down there over to Disney to play the Braves either. So Dan Uggla strikes out, second K for David Price. Rest of our spring schedule. We'll be with you next Monday against the Astros. Then the Yankees a week after that, Thursday the 26th. The Metropolitans, and then the Yankees will visit Nationals Park 2 days before the season opener. Dan Uggla 2 for 9 with that strikeout. And Kevin Franzen is next in the spring. He's 3 for 9. Kevin, just, you wind him up wherever you want him. He goes out and plays and he gets hits.
Baseball player. Yeah, he's always been a front foot hitter. What do I mean by that? He's a guy that always goes out and gets the baseball. It really doesn't have a whole lot of backside, means staying on his back leg. In the offseason, he really worked on standing a little bit more tall and driving off the backside. You see his stance a lot different from last year. Feet underneath him, he was far more spread out. And what does that do? It allows you to use your lower half and to drive the ball more. You know, when you think of Kevin Franzen, he's a tough out. He's going to fight you. He's going to battle you, throw a line drive out there to right. But with this new stance, he feels like he has a little bit of more pop to the pull side. And a little more leverage and strength he's with his legs.
Fastball up, tough to catch up from David Price. Well, Justin Verlander was 15 and 12 last year. Not spectacular by his standards.
Is he going to be a Nat next year?
A Tiger a year?
Fister, Scherzer, and then Verlander next year?
They did add Alfredo Simon, who went 15 and 10 for the Reds. And, of course, David Price, a 15-game winner last year. Former Nat Tom Gorzolani trying to win a job in their bullpen after some injury issues last year that had him in Milwaukee for only 23 games. In fact, he's on the roster. We could see Gorzo today. 2-2, and that's up and away. Kevin Franzen working the count full. There's Tom Gorzolani.
Part of that 2012 NL East Championship squad. He was a great Nat. Remember, initially, he didn't want to go to the bullpen, and we thought it might extend his career. Ended up embracing it, doing well, and still going.
Yeah, he was a mainstay for the Nats. From that left side, Chicago guy, Tom Gorzolani. Good ERA. And relievers, because of circumstances, don't always have control over their one-loss record. I mean, Tyler Clippard would win a lot of games he didn't expect to and lose a few that he didn't expect to. What you're really looking for is the ERA, first batters retired. Good at bat by Kevin Franzen. Not biting on the breaking ball in toward him. And for David Price, it's going to be a long couple of innings. That's his second walk. Number 9 batter is Derek Robinson. Promoted, as we told you, to the big league camp a couple of days ago. It's part of that domino effect with the Denard Span injury that moves Michael Taylor up. Tony Gwynn, a great chance to make the ball club. And this guy bumped up a bit, who can really go get him in center field.
You know, I asked Matt that question about who stood out in camp. Because I used to love, as a player, when the broadcasters asked the manager that, and then I'd run into the clubhouse and hear if he said my name. The guys that are trying to make the team. I'm telling you, you live on the edge. The guys that don't know, you know, you try to take it one day at a time, and hey, I'm going to control what I can control. But meanwhile, it's tough.
Nice stop, Jordan Leonardton. Easy throw for the left-handed first baseman, and he gets the 4-6 force play. Jordan Leonardton.
I don't know if he's right-handed. He makes that play. Left-handed first baseman taking away the hole. We saw that with Ryan Zimmermann the other day. A play that would have been a lot easier for a left-handed first baseman. He had to do an inside pivot, find the target. Made a decent throw, just didn't get the guy at second. But nice play right there by Leonardton, taking a knock and maybe more away.
Yeah, we'll give him a star in the scorebook for that one. I was looking. Tigers didn't provide us any information today on their non-roster guys. So we'll identify them as well as we can.
I saw one of their non-roster guys today, and they look good.
Yeah?
Kate Upton's here. I think she's down at one of the suites doing some kind of promotion. She's from Melbourne, and she had a bunch of dogs and doing something for one of her charities.
Yeah, it's a couple of our canine friends over on the first base side as we speak. Top of the order, Wilmer Defoe.
I feel like she's got a good chance to make the squad. Here she is earlier. Some serious star power here in Melbourne. Who would have thought?
Verlander's not bad. Outside to Defoe, who snuck that double by the backhand reach of Jeffrey Marte, his first time up. Went to third on a wild pitch. Scored on the Ryan Zimmermann RBI double. Wilson Ramos later made it 2-0 in the inning with a ground ball. .1-0 pitch. Good run on the David Price fastball to the outside edge.
Yeah, a lot of pitches so far for Price. 43, just 27 strikes.
Jordan Zimmermann, who could be done unless he stretches things out. 35 pitches, 24 strikes in his 2 innings.
Tigers 90-72 last year. Clinched the AL Central title for the 4th straight year on September 28th. First time in club history that they've been to the playoffs 4 straight years. Good start for Brad Ausmus.
And then the Royals shocked everybody in the American League by going to the World Series.
That was cool.
Runner on the move. The throw from Avila, not in time. And Derek Robinson right around the swipe tag for his stolen base.
2 outs, you're a guy with speed. A lot of people thinking you're going to steal second base, and that's where the value of a stolen base comes in. When the other club knows you're running, when your club knows you're running, the whole ballpark knows you're running, you still steal a base, get in the scoring position with 2 outs. Nicely done.
And Derek Robinson has stolen both of the Nats' bags in spring training. 2-1 to Defoe. And he jacks one out to deep left center. Long run for Anthony Gose, and he can't get there. Defoe might think about rounding the bases here. 1 run in, he's going to be held at third by Bob Henley. The Nationals lead 3-0. And Wilmer Defoe is now 6 for 11 this spring.
I mean, he's been the most impressive guy we've seen down here. Obviously haven't been here every day. But we mentioned the other day, he threw 2 low líneas out there, got a couple knocks off the bench. He said that, stranger things have happened in camps. I don't know where, I don't know how, and I don't even know if it's going to happen. But the worst thing that's going on right now with Wilmer Defoe is his manager saying this guy can play. Something happens during the year. I don't think you would hesitate to call a guy like this up based on what we've seen. Could be getting a little carried away, but when you're talking about an MVP of a league last year in the minors, he's been impressive.
Well, he hit 14 of his 19 career minor league home runs last year. So last year at the age of 22, his power started coming. And that's something that doesn't always happen at that age. I mean, he's got some pop.
You know what else started to come is controlling his emotions. He was a guy that historically, as a minor league player, beat himself up after every at-bat, every bad game. And he's learned how to kind of control that. And he saw the results firsthand last year, and he's seeing the results again this year in camp. Matt Williams got to be impressed.
Hey, how many times do you see a young kid become a league MVP playing 2 different positions?
Yeah.
I mean, there's enough to handle right there. 70 games at short, 66 at second base at Single A Hagerstown, where he hit .315. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Ian Desmond. Up and away from David Price. A couple of very long innings for the Tiger left-hander. Command just not there today. 76. It's the second time he's taken the breaking ball and just floated it way out of the zone. No contest among the starters with pitch count so far.
Me and Desmond's timing just a hair off so far, the times that we've seen him, and that's something that'll start to improve as he moves through spring training. But he's gotten some good pitches that he's fouled off, and that's just a timing deal. He knew he was getting a fastball right there, got it, and was just a hair late.
Desmond lines one hard to left. The Nationals lead 4-0 as Ian Desmond drives in his second run of the spring. An array of extra base hits here. That's the Nats' third double to go with a Defoe triple.
Carver, you know I talk about this all the time. A guy laid on a fastball, then you throw him an off-speed pitch. And maybe David Price is simply just working on stuff out there today. That's what veterans do. But, you know, had this been a regular season game, you see a guy like Ian Desmond just a hair tardy on the fastball, then you throw maybe a cutter or a changeup. I couldn't tell what it was at 86, but, you know, from low to mid-90s to 86, that'll speed your bat up. You catch it out in front. A nice piece of hitting by Desmond.
Not to be forgotten in that first inning, the good at-bat Bryce Harper had in a nasty lefty-lefty matchup. So the Tigers getting their bullpen going.
It's a good pitch.
And that's Luke Picconen, a right-hander working out there. Previous big league experience. Harper a walk and a run scored in that first inning. Over in the practice field area on that foul ball.
I think it might have been a changeup. Bryce Harper caught her out front and hit it about 4 miles. I'm just going to go on a limb and say he's not going to see that one again.
One and two and a fastball missing. Ian Desmond had a good secondary lead there, and the catcher Alex Avila threatened to throw to second. Another thing you work on in spring training, 2 outs, you want to score on a single. Get your good lead.
Two outs, 2 strikes. You're going on the hitter's hands moving. As soon as they start to go in the zone as a base runner, you're taking off.
Oh, Harper, he took it, but it was called a strike by Paul Nard. Couple of long innings for David Price. The Nats pick up a pair in the first and the second, a 4-run lead.
to see Jordan Zimmermann for the first time on television this year. Last time we saw him on Masson, he threw a pretty good game. September 28th against the Marlins. First no-hitter in Nats history, and today, he's just doing his thing, man. Pound that strike zone. If you missed it earlier, 182 strikeouts last year for Jordan versus just 29 walks. That's amazing.
And for a guy with 1 out short of 200 innings, kept the ball in the yard. So Wilmer Defoe continues to impress. Double, triple, 2 runs and RBI today. Ryan Zimmermann swinging the bat well. What else is new down here? And here's Jordan out for a 3rd inning of work. 35 pitches, as we mentioned. 24 strikes in his first 2. Giving up just that wind-blown triple by Hernan Perez. He's facing second baseman Josh Wilson. Right-handed batter late.
When you get a reputation like Jordan has throughout baseball, being a strike thrower, pound the strike zone, why he's been so successful, you talk to hitters, he's got that late jump on his heat. So if it says 94, it's playing 96, 97, even faster than that. But he has such pinpoint command. So game plan against a guy like Jordan, hey, A, I'm not getting into account. I mean, I'm not going to be 2-0, 3-1, so there's nothing to wait for. B, I'm not walking. So what do? You go up there and hack. He's taking advantage of that by having pinpoint control and throwing to corners. So when guys do go up and swing early in the count, they do what you're looking at right now. They do you a favor as a pitcher by making quick outs, allows you to go deeper into games. And that's how the whole reputation of a strike thrower kind of snowballs, and we've seen it with Jordan over the last couple of years.
Ian Desmond got a big hop on that one off the bat of Wilson. Anthony Ghost, the center fielder now. And he is their Tyler Moore this spring. 8 for 14 with 4 batted in, hitting .571.
Yeah, reached base safely 10 times, scored 6 runs, 3 for 3 in stolen bases.
He'll drop one out into right center.
And he can fly.
Yeah, there he goes. With a little pressure on Derek Robinson there. Buys himself a 1-out double.
That's something he's done a few times so far in spring training. Stretch singles into doubles, and I think he kind of gave Robinson the okey doke here. He's kind of slowed down, excuse me, coming around first, and then hit the accelerator and gets in easy with the double. See it right here. Kind of just cruising right here, and then decides, all right, see that little false step there as he gets to the bag? Kind of set a trap, and it worked.
He was Anthony gone on that one. Top of the order, Raj Davis struck out swinging, first time up. Davis, 282 for the Tigers, 134 games last year. The Nats saw him early in his National League career when he was playing outfield, doing some leading off for the Pirates. Runner going, breaking ball, low throw, wrong side of the bag for the tag. And Ghost swipes third base. Wilson Ramos sent Kevin Franzen into foul territory, reaching for that one.
That's how you make a big league team. You stretch singles into doubles. You're not afraid to show your manager you can run. A great jump by Ghost. Almost got his hand stuck right there. And I wonder if we used replay, if he popped up off the bag at all while Franzen's tag was on him. We saw that happen a few times last year.
1-2 to Davis. That ball slammed off the helmet of Wilson Ramos.
Does he come off the bag at all, Card? Watch his left hand get stuck, first of all, kind of roll under. And right, looked like maybe his leg was on it the whole time.
Man, when you slide head first, what part of your body doesn't end up hitting the bag at some point?
It's usually your toes are the last thing. You're trying to hook it.
Yeah. Breaking ball. Good take by Davis. Well, and you would think guys like that, at least one or two in a ball club, would be important to the Tigers. I mean, yeah, they got Cabrera and they have Cespedes now. It's a big ballpark, man. You could put some speed to work at Comerica Park in those gaps. Jammed him a bit. Ball not going too far. Tyler Moore coming forward for it. Here comes the runner. Tyler makes a strong throw, but this guy's just too fast. Anthony goes single-handedly putting a run on the board for Detroit. That's impressive.
I see Brad Osmus getting up off the bench to give him some love right there. He knows that he could use a little speed, like you mentioned, and that's going to do it for Jordan Zimmermann. Matt Williams out of the dugout, and his day is done.
So as we reset things here for you from Vieira, Florida, home of the Nats, Space Coast Stadium, it'll be 2 2/3 for Jordan Zimmermann. A run on 2 hits. His pitch count will be up around 50. We'll get to the number on that a little later. But the Nats still on top, 4-1.
Jordan Zimmermann today worked on the curveball a lot. A pitch he only threw 8% of the time. Saw him get some work in. Did a nice job. Nats Plus is back for 2015. It's going to feature incredible benefits, including discounts, exclusive events, and more. For a limited time, new members can also receive an official 10th anniversary Nats jersey. That is while supplies last, and guarantee your opening day tickets. So that's worth it right there. Call 202-675-NATS or visit nationals.com for more information.
Matt Thornton, a brilliant find late in the season by Mike Rizzo. 18 games, a 0 ERA for the Nats.
That's good.
Not like he was slugged around in New York. He had a 255 with the Yankees. 18 games, 11 innings.
Mid to upper 90s fastball, left-handed.
Non-roster catcher Manny Pena. That's for Alex Avila here. Wind still blowing in steadily from left field. And Manny Pena 0 for 4 for the Tigers in the spring. Out to short. Desmond backhand. Right on target to Ryan Zimmermann. That's it for the Tigers in the top of the third. So Anthony Ghost gets them on the board. 4-5-6 ahead for the Nationals. 4-1 Washington.
4-1 Nationals, bottom 3 at Space Coast Stadium. Gio González waving to the fans and joining me now in the camera well. Gio, thank you for taking a couple minutes with us. First of all, I wanted to get to something that you said earlier in spring. You said that your focus this year was to have more fun and enjoy the game more than you have in past years. As someone who's around you on a daily basis, I don't know how that's possible. What did you mean by that comment?
I mean, right now we have Max, who's been great with us and, having fun and keeping it nice and loose. And, Tanner and Doug and Jordan and Strauss, we're just on our toes, just having fun and smiling the most of the time. But right now we've been getting it right and doing it, just having fun.
How do you feel? Last year was the first time that you landed on the disabled list with the shoulder injury. How tough was that for you to deal with? You kind of prided yourself on being healthy your entire career up to that point. What was that like for you to go through that?
I mean, now I've been getting my exercises in and just working on shoulder exercises and just feeling great about it. Just talking to a couple of players that know and have experienced some shoulder inflammation. And, now I feel great, and I think it's going to get better and better. So I'm just happy to be doing it right and getting my exercises in.
How did you feel in that first outing, and did it feel good? Was there any concern about whether any of that shoulder stuff might pop up again?
No, I think now we're good. So I think that just got to keep going, feeling strong, and getting my innings in, and first spring training of the game. You get the butterflies out and have some fun, and but finishing off in the bullpen was pretty exciting.
Gio, you've gotten to know Max Scherzer a little bit, sitting right down in front of us over these last few weeks. How would you describe his personality to those who have not yet gotten to know Max too well?
We got a feel for him right now, but other than that, he's pretty funny guy. He's keeping it on our toes. A lot of horse playing around here, but we got our job done and we keep it loose. But back then till meow, it's been great.
Would you say that he has upped you in the clubhouse clown category? You probably were the top of the list until Max arrived. Who's at the top now? I
mean, meow is Max. Max for sure. He's taking the trophy. I mean, him and Strauss have their jokes, have their fun. I'm pretty sure they've gotten back at each other. But so far, right meow is Max.
Gio, you've always had kind of a good feel for the team as a whole, and last year I remember you telling me just how much you enjoyed being around this group and how good the chemistry was. What's your feel for this club this spring, and how do you think you guys are ready to attack the 2015 season?
2015 right now looks great. I mean, they look like they're just having fun. Willie getting a base hit right now is definitely showing the excitement we got going, and it's been fun, it's been loose, and 2015 looks great right now.
Gio, thank you very much for the time, and best of luck this year.
Thank you, Dan.
Guys, back up to you right now.
I think they get a word of the day, and I think the reason Scherzer was counting, I'm pretty sure, and maybe Dan can ask him, that was probably $100 a meow. So I'm thinking Gio just made $1,000 right there for Max Scherzer in that interview. You saw Max counting. And he got to 7, and I'm thinking that's $700. And then once he got to, I think, 10 meows, that's a grand. Nicely done. 10. All right.
How about that? Right under our noses. 1 on, 1 out. And I think I know what Gio was talking about. And we're talking about a long blast by Tyler Moore, and the wind's going to keep it in the yard. He's hit 2 balls today that would have been home runs, 1 to right and 1 to left on a usual day here. That one stays in so Cespedes could catch it. Tough luck.
So when you look at somebody's numbers at the end of spring training and you say, well, Tyler Moore hit 250. Say he gets down to that by the end of camp. Don't forget at-bats like this, and that's what managers and general managers look at. Tyler Moore roasted 1 to right center his first time up. Ball not traveling today, kind of a cool day with the overcast skies. The wind blowing straight in from left, so on a normal day here at Vieira, he could be 2 for 2 with 2 home runs.
Yeah.
That's why stats sometimes are misleading.
I think what Gio was talking about, having more fun, was that when he's actually on the mound, not every walk that he gives up is a dagger. You know, he gets emotional. He gets upset at himself. And maybe if the guys relax him indeed in that department, FP, he can kind of let those things roll off his shoulder and just do what he does. Because there's no doubt about the fact that those sort of things get to him if he thinks an umpire squeezing him or just a little thing here and there isn't going right. He gets past that. There is no limit to what that lefty can do.
Well, I think it's as simple as being healthy. He was never healthy last year, and that's no fun as a major league player when you're playing jacked up all season long. He went on the DL for the first time. He had that sore shoulder all season long, and now he feels good, and that's what I think he means by having fun. Being healthy, being able to contribute like he has in the past.
Great contact from Dan Uggla. The Nats hit Luke Pitconen hard, but a runner stranded onto the fourth inning. We go. Copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Washington Nationals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Washington Nationals. Nice day in Vieira. Been cloudy most of the time. Quite comfortable for our fans here. I can see some showers off to the south of us here. Hopefully they stay away and we get some baseball in. Going to the top of the fourth inning, and Drew Storn is on. 65 games last year, 66 career saves. Last year, a 1.12 ERA. That's over 65 games.
Yeah, became a 4-pitch pitcher last year.
Yoenis Cespedes, a tough first batter for Drew to face. Storen's first appearance of the spring in a major league game. Cespedes, fly ball to left. The wind stopped his first time. He didn't hit his as well as Tyler Moore did. But it'll be tough. It may take a low laser to get out today to that part of Space Coast Stadium.
When I say 4 pitches, you know, he always had that sinking 2-seamer at 94. Then he'd throw a 4-seamer too.
Cespedes hooks one to deep short. Great play by Desmond. And Ryan Zimmermann made a really good play to go about 10 feet up the line to keep that from being 2 bags.
Good effort by Desmond right there. Knew he had to get rid of it quick. Threw it over there. Cespedes spelling a knock. Really had no chance, but you like the effort by Ian Desmond, especially in spring training. And he made a good point about Ryan getting off the bag and keeping Cespedes at first.
Yeah, Ryan spotting the ball way off target immediately.
Well, if he stretched for that and didn't leave the bag, we'd have a lot of problems on our hands.
We'd have a runner on third and a pulled hamstring.
If he just stood there and watched the ball go by to the fence, probably have some early work tomorrow.
Tyler Collins, the DH. Bounced out to Defoe first time. Cespedes has a quick bat. He got around on that thing and really hooked it to the left side. 85. Looked like the changeup drifting out. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tyler Collins, 18 games for the Tigers last year. He hit a homer, 4 RBIs. Drove in 62 at AAA Toledo.
I'm sure all Nats fans remember Drew Storm's changeup emerging last year, and it became maybe even more effective than his killer slider that was in years past his go-to pitch, his punch-out pitch. Last year, he threw it to lefties and he threw it to righties. Lots of confidence. Throw for a strike. Any count.
Fair ball. Backhand. Franzen to Zimmermann, and it got an in-between hop. And a runner will move from second to third on that. Nice glove play by Kevin Franzen. We'll see how they rule that. It probably should be a hit. Tough play. And then the error will allow the runner to move along.
He knew he had to get rid of it, a lot like Ian Desmond's play, just a sidearm sling, kind of an emergency throw because of the amount of time it took to make the play.
It is the Tigers' 4th hit of the day. 2 in this inning. And here's their big first baseman, Jordan Lennerton. Bouncing ball. Zimmermann ahead, but it's foul. Nice practice play, though.
Interesting that Ryan turned to throw to second on that ball. Usually when the ball takes you toward home plate, that's your only play. And he, even though it was foul, kind of did the move to throw it to second base. Whether he was going to do that or not, or just kind of took the opportunity once it was called foul to work on his footwork, I don't know.
Well outside with 84. 1 ball, 1 strike. This might be the biggest Tiger first baseman standing in there since Tony Clark, who was in the ballpark today. He and Dave Winfield were here. Bobby Bonilla, guys working for the Major League Players Association, making the rounds in spring training, talking to guys about how to handle their careers, go about their business. And that visit took place here today. Tigers get a sac fly, and it's a 4-2 game now.
That's the visit that every spring I would slide in the back of my locker and put my jersey and pants all together on the hanger and fall asleep for an hour.
Hard to believe.
I don't know. That's just stuff never interests me.
There was another group in the ballpark today, the Taylor Hooton Foundation. Our old friend Rick Cerrone, not the catcher, but the former Yankee media relations director, Rick Cerrone. And they are enlisting the help of Major League players to get the word out about performance-enhancing drugs. Look at that throw. Look at that out. A bullet by Wilson Ramos to nail Tyler Collins.
Tyler Collins got a good jump. Wilson Ramos out through the good jump. And you remember Drew Storm also working on his delivery of the plate, giving catchers a stance. 2 years ago, that bag would have been stolen standing up. The 2013 Drew Storm, but 2014 Drew tightened up his delivery. 2015 doing the same. It gave Wilson Ramos a chance. Nice throw. You see Drew with the abbreviated delivery to the plate. Wilson Ramos doing a nice job of basically turning a double play, getting rid of it. Throw right on the money. Nice tag by Defoe.
2 down, bases empty.
Don't run on the Buffalo, it'll catch you.
Hernan Perez, the shortstop, the hitter. The reason I brought up that story is that Anthony Rendon has agreed to become their Nationals spokesman. Each team in the major leagues will have one guy that'll join the Hooton Foundation. to try to convince young athletes to make good decisions, so their careers could be nice and long and healthy. One ball and 2 strikes. Bases empty, 2 outs. Storen, 93 on the challenge fastball.
I think Anthony Rendon would be a great example for any youngster.
Yeah.
But as far as spokesman, I don't know how much spoke we'll be doing in the spokesman part.
Yeah. I think it's more of a representation thing, that here's a young guy that's representing the Washington Nationals in their campaign.
Yep.
They said they got 23 of the 30 clubs signed up. Umpire shakes his head no. Paul Nart not giving Drew the call. And the count's 2-2.
The fact that he shook his head at all means it was close.
Mm-hmm. Off the end of the bat, left center. And the call by Derek Robinson, who will bat second in the bottom of the 4th. And sudden sensation, Wilmer Defoe, right after him.
Four to 2 Nationals, bottom 4 here at Space Coast Stadium. Jerry Blevins joins me now. Jerry, hello.
Hello.
Your family's here today. Who do we got in the stands here at Space Coast?
That's actually not really my family.
Oh, you were lying to me.
Yeah, they were cheering for me randomly, but I just told you that they were my family because who else would cheer for me?
Wow.
A little self-deprecating humor.
There we go. I just got pretty hard on TV. Jerry, you had an interesting off-season. In November, you went out with some MLB All-Stars to play out in Japan in a showcase series against Japanese All-Stars. You told me that you just really enjoyed the experience overall. What was the thing that most stays with you that you really took the most enjoyment out of?
Just the people, the respect that they have for the game of baseball and for, personal space and the respect they have for the game, how positive they are for both sides. They cheered for their team, but if we did something good on the U.S. side, they would acknowledge that too. So it was just a fun experience to see baseball from a different point of view.
What were the differences in the way that they approached the game that you noticed, or anything that you kind of took away from the Japanese style of baseball?
They take what's given to them. They don't strike out a whole lot. They put the ball in play. Very, very much a contact, put pressure on the defense, small ball kind of stuff. And, they throw a lot of split fingers. And I can't throw that pitch, but if I could, I definitely would have picked it up over there.
Now, you guys had your fun on the field. You had your fun off the field as well. You and Brewers reliever Rob Wooten had a little bit of a dare going back and forth. And he dared you, if I remember this correctly, to eat, what was it, pickled fish guts?
Yeah, it was pickled fish guts, and I got the short end of that deal. They were not good in any sense of the word. They were mushy. They tasted so salty. It just wasn't fun for me.
So not again with the pickled fish guts.
I mean, if I got dared, if I'm a gamer. I step up. If that's what the dare is, I'll do it. Now that I know going in, I can handle it. But the shock factor of the mushiness was a little hard to deal with.
Okay. We know that now. We got our scouting report on pickled fish guts. Jerry, you finished the 2014 season really strongly. You had a great last September, last few weeks of the season, and then into the postseason as well. What do you take away from maybe those 5 weeks that you'll try and pull here now into 2015?
Momentum. It helped me going into the offseason. We ended the season a little bit short of where our goals were, and it left a little bit of a bitter taste in our mouth. So you work hard, and that momentum of doing well at the end of the season, personally, it helps you and motivates you to push even harder and continue to do what you were doing that creates that success.
Once the disappointment happens there in the postseason, how quickly do you turn the page and get focused on the next season that's to come, and how long does that stay with you, the disappointment in the playoffs?
It stays with you a while. I mean, once, I guess, spring training started, that's really when you turn the page. You dwell on what happened for a while because there's no more baseball. As a reliever, we pride ourselves in being able to have a short-term memory. So if you give up a 3-run spot the night before, you have a job to do. So you shut that out and go to the field the next day ready to play. In the playoffs, there's no tomorrow. So all you have is how you finished, and that'll motivate you to do better next time.
Everyone sets individual goals as they go into a season to go along with team goals. What are you trying to improve on? What kind of have you set for yourself for 2015 that you want to accomplish?
Consistency, to build off of the end of last year. I want to go in and start the season off in a positive way and move through and just maintain that presence in the bullpen to where they know what they're going to get when they bring me into a game.
Jerry, thanks for the time and best of luck this year.
My pleasure, Dan.
Guys, back up to you.
All right, Jerry Blevins, one of those Nats left-handers. A former Nat left-hander, Tom Gorzolani, on the mound here. He pitched in 75 games for the Nationals, combined in 2011 and 12. So he got Kevin Franzen on a grounder. That was a ball hitting Derek Robinson, who got handcuffed as he was trying to leave the batter's box and evidently was out of the box when the ball got him. So 2 quick outs for the left-hander Gorzolani. 32 years of age now, Tom.
They say you come to the ballpark and you never know what you're going to see. I had no idea I would hear pickled fish guts today in an interview.
Yeah, right after some meows.
Yeah. Did you see the Josh Colmenter in-game interview from Arizona? Trevor Cahill was behind him with his arms between his arms, and
that was funny.
Having him drink a glass of water, eat sunflower seeds in the middle of an interview.
Defoe almost did it again. How about the double in the first, the triple in the second?
Well, I think the first time we saw him, I called him Defoe about 6 times and mispronounced his name. But when you keep getting knocks like this as a minor league guy in your first go-around at big league camp, you're going to learn how to pronounce the name right. And it's Defoe, as in double, as in triple, as in opening a lot of eyes.
2-2. Yeah, so to update him, in the spring, 6 for 11, 3 RBIs. For great reports about him at short defensively. As I mentioned last time, and when we saw him the other day, his numbers have blossomed as a minor leaguer. 19 career home runs, and 14 of them last year.
Little guy with pop.
Yeah.
Nice play by Bob Henley.
Defoe listed at 6 foot 175. What he did at Hagerstown last year, 90 RBIs. Stole 49 bases. It's interesting. They officially list him as a shortstop, second baseman, third baseman. From the Dominican, town called Santiago de Caballeros. And a .276 career batting average in 5 minor league seasons. 3-2, and he takes a hard swing, but he makes contact a couple of times here to stay alive.
3-2 over the last, maybe 2 years has become an off-speed count. And it generally, for the history of baseball, has been a fastball count. You throw your heater down the middle, or at least try to locate it for a strike. Very rarely do guys throw 3-2 fastballs anymore.
And Defoe lifting one out to left center. This will hang up in the breeze for Anthony Gose, and the Nats go 1-2-3 for the first time today. On to the 5th inning, and a good inning for Tom Gorzolani. 4-2 Washington.
Nats as we head to the top of the 5th inning. 1 minute and 1 second left on the shot clock in left center field. Treat your clients, employees, friends, and family to an amazing outing at Nats Park this season. They're all amazing, but you can book a suite or a club experience for your group and enjoy incredible amenities like a private bar, a jacuzzi, I made that up, a pool table, and all-inclusive food and beverages. Call 202-675-NATS or visit nationals.com/groups for way more details.
Cutter Dykstra for Defoe, who just got his 3rd at bat. That's out at second base, and the new pitcher is Craig Stammen. Craig gave up a couple of hits, but had a scoreless 5th inning on his 31st birthday here Monday. Fastball right in there to the 3rd baseman, Jerry Marte. Ooh, look at the run on that and the sink, and he gets a strike call. Nasty. And a pop-up. Tyler Moore, a ways to come, and he looked at Desmond, and then Desmond able to hang around and make the catch. I mean, with the breeze, that thing came straight down.
There's not too many shortstops in baseball with the athletic ability just to pick you up like Ian Desmond just picked up Tyler Moore. You called it, the wind's blowing in. Tyler Moore taking a little false step back, and long way to go. Ian Desmond kind of, I got you. Don't panic. Back to the infield. There's a guy for the Tigers, and is named Omar Vizquel, that would really appreciate that play.
Yeah, he's one of their coaches now.
Yes. Although Omar used to flip off his hat because he'd say when he was looking with his back to the infield that the bill of his hat got in the way. There's Omar. One of the best defensive shortstops in the history of baseball.
Out to center. Robinson.
I saw him laughing after that play, too. Someone was shouting for the Nats dugout. That's you.
What a good shortstop. Wow.
I had the pleasure of seeing him in San Francisco for a few years toward the end of his career, and he's every bit as slick as short as he was as a 20-something infielder with the Mariners.
I would have a hard time picking Ozzie Smith over him or him over Ozzie Smith. I mean, just two guys that had no flaws defensively.
But not too many guys like watching Stanton or McGuire take BP that you would watch Omar Vizquel take ground balls during batting practice. Just sit there and be amazed at how soft he was, almost like a ballet watching him field.
Yeah, those guys worked at it too.
That makes sense, right? Flip off your cap, and now that's not in the way because you're looking at balls kind of coming down at a different angle with your back to it.
So you could have a Texas leaguer with a Vizquel over-the-shoulder catch. Should name that play after him. Although we've talked about this before, nobody has better range at short getting into the outfield. Really, anybody around than Ian Desmond. When he and Danny Espinosa have been up the middle together, you better hit a line drive and not be hoping to drop a fly ball in somewhere. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Anthony Gose, who put on quite a show here with 1 out in the 3rd inning. With a double that really was a single. He just stretched it. And he stole 3rd. Scored on a sac fly that wasn't that deep. There are coaches who could take that at bat and that half inning and build a 10 or 15 minute speech around it on how to utilize some speed.
Yeah, I mean, show as many people as you want. There's only a handful of people in baseball that can do it. And I think Brad Ausmus knows that. Tigers are slugging. That's what they do. They hit homers. They beat your brains out 10-8.
That's a strike call on a swing back fastball by Craig Stammen at a 1-2-3. Bryce Harper after Desmond before Zimmermann coming up. Bottom of the 5th inning coming up. Desmond, Harper, Zimmermann. You know, it's always interesting to hear what Bryce Harper has to say, but sometimes it's equally as interesting to hear what others have to say about him. Here's Matt Williams.
I think he's well on his way to where he wants to get to. There are adjustments that need to be made, certainly, as we go. But he's a dynamic player, does a lot of things. I mean, it gets quiet every once in a while, and then you get a play like the other day, the ball bounces off the wall, and he almost throws the guy out at first base. I mean, and you go, oh, you know, it's there.
Don't we know? Able to surface at any time. Right-hander Josh Zeid for the Tigers. 27-year-old right-hander was with Houston the last couple of years. 48 appearances over those 2 seasons with a major league ERA of 5.21. The way upstairs for the New Haven, Connecticut native. And Ian Desmond, a base hit last time. He hooked one into left, got his RBI, his 2nd of the spring.
I clicked on Todd Zeal to find his repertoire. And it had 7-8 pitches. I'm like, this guy throws everything but the kitchen sink.
Todd Zeal?
Yeah, it's an aside. Fastball, slider change. Fastball average is 94. Got it right. So with the hitters, it shows how many pitches, different pitches they've faced throughout their career.
That is interesting. Todd Zeal was a pretty good player for St. Louis and the Cubs back in the 80s.
He was.
Ian Desmond taking the base on balls. We'll see if Emmanuel Burris runs for him, or maybe Ian might play another inning in the field. Keep up to date on national spring training with the Mid-Atlantic Sports Report. Join Masson's baseball experts 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. They get you ready for the season, player interviews, MLB headlines, previews of the ball clubs, plenty of debates with those guys getting together on all the hot topics. The Mid-Atlantic Sports Report, weekdays on Masson. Ian Desmond remains in the game, and he's aboard with nobody out. Bryce Harper 0 for 1 with a walk and a run scored. Desmond kind of scrambling back in there. Harper seeing a right-hander for the first time. His 2 at-bats today were against David Price, who the Nats roughed up a bit. 4 hits, 4 runs in 2 innings. And they made him throw 57 pitches. And a visit from catcher Manny Pena.
Could be loud right here if it's a strike.
There was some loud BP from this bat this morning. Delayed steal. There's a throw and nobody there. And Ian Desmond, as FP talks about so often, caught the infielders in between, if not napping on that one.
Yeah, it's not about catching the catcher napping. It's about the middle infielders. And watch, they saw him flat-footed on the first pitch. They were flat-footed on that pitch. And Ian Desmond's done this so many times. It's just shuffle, shuffle, go. Delayed steal, textbook, folks. And when you think of delayed steal, you always think of slow guys like catchers doing it. But I think it's just as effective when fast guys do it because you don't expect it.
That's loud into right field. Hit it too hard for Desmond to score. They'll hit the cutoff man, and the Nats have runners at first and third, nobody out. It's Bryce Harper's second hit of the spring.
Well, I talked about moving guys to third with nobody out. Now the Nats have to be great at it all season long. And Bryce Harper doing a nice job of getting the ball to the right side. Hit it too hard to score Desmond. But get this, when the Nats scored 3 or more runs last year, to my point, 89 and 26. When they scored 4 or more runs last year, 74 and 11. You talk about adding a Max Scherzer to that staff. I mean, score 3 runs. You might win 115 games if you do it consistently.
Nats last year were third in the league in runs with 686. They gave up 555. So more than a plus 130 right there. Defense was in the top 5. ERA was the best in all of baseball at just over 3 runs a game. A lot of numbers that work really well together. Zimmermann 1 for 2 with an RBI double.
Bryce had a lean going. But the little things, Carp, we're talking about, to me, the analogy is like offense in basketball. There's nights when you're going to shoot the lights out. There's nights when you're not. That's the home run in baseball. But the defense in basketball is more of an attitude and a mindset. It should be there every night. Same thing on the execution on offense at the major league level. Getting runners in, moving guys over. That should be there every single night.
Well hit to right. That ball blown away from Davis, and one hops the wall. Desmond scores. Harper to third. And the Nats pulling out some lumber here in the 5th inning after that leadoff walk and the Desmond steal. 5-2 Nats.
Nice approach. simple approach, just trying to let the ball get deep and go the other way. Not trying to do too much. Ryan Zimmermann riding that wind out to right field. So nice job so far. Ian Desmond with the leadoff walk, delay steal. Gets to third on the Harper single. Bryce doing a nice job of getting the ball to the right side. Ryan Zimmermann cleaning things up with a double to right.
Wilson Ramos, a loud single right back through the box on the first pitch he saw last time up. And a breaking ball fooled him. You can hear the wind kicking up in our microphones, coming straight in from the left field corner. Ramos, high fly ball. Wind's going to push this way into the seats. That thing started out about 20 feet fair. With more on Wilson Ramos, here's Dan.
Bob, we all know the hamstring problems that Wilson Ramos has had over the last few years, and he's come into spring this year going with a different approach as far as trying to make sure that his body is in tip-top shape. He's still doing his normal lifting, but he's doing a lot more stretching and agility stuff, and he's doing that, he says, every day. This is the first year that he's done that type of work every single day in an effort to stop those injuries. He said, this is a big year for me. This is a very important year. I want to catch 120, 125 games. When I'm healthy, I know I can help the team. I got to do a better job to make sure that I'm healthy and on the field as much as possible.
Well, and that's a point well taken, Dan. If you look at his production per games played and per at-bats at the big league level, it's been remarkable. You get that kind of playing time out of him, no limit. Zide works him over with nasty breaking stuff for the first out, fifth inning. Tyler Moore. He's hit 2 home runs today, but they were both caught thanks to the wind. Swinging the bat great.
Nate, pat your back, buddy.
First appearance of the spring for Nate McLouth coming up. That'll be in the DH spot.
And probably not ready to throw yet with that surgically repaired arm, but ready to hit.
Breaking ball, he rides it the other way. Raj Davis, he'll throw into second, and Tyler Moore will collect another RBI. His 7th of the spring as Bryce Harper scores to make it 6-2. What a good at-bat, and now with more on Nate McLouth, back to Dan.
Guys, as you said, Nate McLouth still not ready to throw in a game just yet. This is his first at-bat in a big league spring training game so far this spring. He's been getting ABs on the minor league side. He's going to start at DH tomorrow. He's been long tossing and stretching that arm out after the surgery, and he says he's pretty pleased with his arm strength, but that long toss has been with an arc. His next step is to flatten it out and really improve that arm strength even more, just to make sure the shoulder is okay. He should be getting into games in the field here, maybe another week or so, but the Nats are working to get him at bats. He feels good swinging the bat, no issues there, so they'll get him some reps as a DH today and tomorrow.
And his numbers from spring training last year.
That's good to see him back.
August 4th went on the DL with right shoulder inflammation. Seeing some live pitching here. 1 ball, 1 strike.
You see how he took that pitch? Mid-season, he's swinging 1-0 at a fastball in the inner half. But like I said, there's certain ways to approach spring training. He missed a lot of time last year. He didn't want to make it a 2-pitch AB. He wants to see some pitches. You know, now it's all systems go, but... just want to get the feel back, see the ball of the hand, find release points, see rotation, ball strike, all that stuff. Go up there and swing at the first strike, you're really not accomplishing a whole lot if you've missed the time that Nate has.
1-2 pitch. McLeod able to make contact, stay alive. Big league career started with the Pirates in 05. They drafted him in the 25th round 5 years before that out of Whitehall, Michigan High School. Former Michigan Player of the Year.
And super fired up like all Wolverine fans are about the hiring of Jim Harbaugh. Talked to him about that the other day.
Yeah, he turned down a baseball scholarship from the Wolverines to go pro. In high school, he got caught once stealing in 181 attempts. I think his dad told me last year there's like 20 catchers in Michigan who claim they're the guy who threw him out. Wow. 180 for 181. Won an all-star berth and a gold glove with the Pirates in 08 when he hit 276 with 26 home runs and 94 RBIs. Did a nice job for the Orioles before the Nats signed him last year. Hanging tough with Zimmermann at second base, 2 outs, 2 runs in the Washington 5th. Well, if you want a first string spring training at bat, see a lot of pitches, this is tailor-made for Nate. We'll go for at least another. Josh Zeid, the pitcher for the Tigers, pitched at Tulane and Vanderbilt. At a 3-2, he looks to second and the runner back in Zimmermann. Called strike with a fastball. 5th inning over, the Nats pick up 2 more on a walk, a steal, and 2 hits. 6-2, Washington. Here's our game summary as this one moves into the top of the 6th inning. Well, the Nats got a couple in the first. Ryan Zimmermann an RBI double. He would add an RBI double in that 2-run 5th inning. And in between, Defoe a triple for a run, Desmond a double for a run in the second, and Ryan's had a good day. The double, first one pulled, second time he would go the other way and take advantage of that breeze.
I honestly don't think I've seen him make it out in spring training in 5 years here. At least not on a broadcast.
Left field, Kila Kayahui. Drew Vedelson in right for Harper. Manny Burris at short. Clint Robinson for Ryan Zimmermann. And you can see Sandy Leon behind the plate. There's Sandy. And on the mound, Blake Trinan. High hopper. From behind second, Burris. Safe is the call. Raj Davis can get down the line.
Well, when you think of the Detroit Tigers, you don't think about infield singles, but I believe that's the third one they've had today. And Raj Davis, you see that big step by Burris and maybe a little kind of hesitation getting the ball out right there. That was the difference between safe and out.
Catcher Manny Pena next. So Davis 1 for 2 with a sac fly after that base hit. "15 games, 7 starts for the Nats last year for Trinan with a 2.49 ERA. 30 Ks in 51 innings. Matt Williams talked about that turbo sinker of his earlier. Ground ball's his forte. That thing just got pounded into the dirt so hard. It was actually a ground ball with a lot of carry way out beyond second base.
It's a good example right there. 93 born in on a right-hander. I mean, who wouldn't want a big, tall right-hander like this that comes in throwing upper 90s with that kind of sink to get a Giancarlo Stanton out, a Michael Morse out? You know, you think about the big right-handers in the National League East, David Wright, you know, guys like that. His stuff plays.
Wow. Right in the kitchen. Burris, the easy catch for the first out.
That's what I'm talking about.
Serious.
Serious what?
Jamage.
Thanks. And then, you know, you get that pitch down a little bit, Carpet. It's a ground ball double play.
Yeah.
And it's not just a finesse two-seamer. It's, you know, it's got split action at times where it goes straight down. I remember him throwing a couple pitches last year that I thought were actual splits. And you look up and at 98 on the scoreboard. That's how much sink it had and how late it was.
Cespedes goes up hacking on a play right side. He had a ground ball to deep short for a base hit last time. Space Coast Stadium. Good crowd on hand today. Not many empty seats. The Nats are 3-3 on the spring. They're playing the Detroit Tigers and leading 6-2 here, 6th inning. At the Mets tomorrow. Astros here on Friday. Our next game against Houston on Masson Monday.
Seems like we always do a game against the Astros, don't we, every year? Except for it was Bo Porter's Astros the last
year. As long as they bring Jose Altuve with them, I'll be happy.
Yes.
We love watching that kid play.
How can you not? This game's flying.
And Trinan spins one way inside. 2 balls, 1 strike. Always 1 pitch from a double play.
I see it channeling your inner double play. You were good at that last year, by the way. I think you called at least 1. No, seriously, you called a bunch.
Runner on the move, and the ball's popped up. Wynn's going to play with this a bit. And the first baseman, Clint Robinson, takes charge. 2 outs. And Tyler Collins, the DH, will be in.
Hey, Clint's got those shades on his hat because it's cloudy out, and then all of a sudden the sun comes out. That's the tricky part about wearing Oakleys. I mean, you put them on your hat in case the sun breaks through somewhere, especially in spring training, because you don't want to wear them when it's cloudy, because you can't really see anything. But then the sun pops out, and what do? You can't reach up on your hat and put them on.
Boy, that's close.
I'm replaying that in the season. If you got an Exmo camera on it, why not?
Yeah. Managers don't have to leave the dugout this year, right? I think that was another one of the things to speed things up.
That's good. I'm all for that.
Don't have to go out and have social conversations with the umpires until you get the thumbs up or down from the clubhouse. Blake Trinan, a remnant of the Michael Morse 3-team deal a couple of years ago. Originally drafted by Oakland in the 7th round of the draft in 11 out of South Dakota State.
And Michael Morse has been to 3 teams since that trade. Seattle, San Francisco, and now Miami.
He might have found himself a home this time.
I thought he found himself a home in San Francisco. Giants fans loved him. He had a great season.
1-1. Took a little bit off that one. Waiting for it. Dykstra. Tigers are gone in the top of the 6th after a leadoff single. They've stranded just 2 today. Nets pitching staff solid. Space Coast Stadium in Vieira, Florida. Bottom of the 6th coming up. For the Nationals, Kevin Franzen, probably his final at bat before Matt Skoll comes in to replace him. Same for Derek Robinson, who's next. Jeff Kobernis slotted in his spot. And then we'll see Cutter Dykstra for the first time with the bat. The pitcher is the left-hander Kyle Ryan, 23-year-old from Auburndale, Florida. He played Double-A, Triple-A last year for Erie and Toledo. And a bouncing ball. Kevin Franzen 0 for 2 with a walk today. That'll bring in Derek Robinson. Reached on a fielder's choice, stole a base, scored a run in the second. Bounced out on a ball that hit him when he came out of the batter's box in the fourth. Ball out to center. 2 down. Daniel Fields on that catch.
And Cutter Dykstra with a triple into the right field corner last time we saw him.
Hey, he's 2 for 4 with an RBI. .274 Harrisburg last year after hitting .389 in just 5 games at Auburn. Had 6 homers, 49 RBIs with the Senators up in Central PA. Solid up the middle. How about the leadoff spot today? 3 for 4. Double, triple, single, 2 runs.
Nice short compact swing right there. Stayed inside the ball nice. Right back where it came from. Watch this swing. Not a lot of movement. That's a low maintenance swing, folks. That's easy to repeat. Meaning, for those of you that don't know, when you got a lot of stuff going on, you're moving your hands all over, your leg kicking, those swings are high maintenance swings because you have a lot of different timing mechanisms.
Here's Emmanuel Burris. 1 for 8 so far. Fastball close, but a bit outside. Woodrow Wilson High School in the district. Got him. Dykstra picked off first, inning over. He doesn't believe it. Gary Cedarstrom punching him out. That's it for the Nats in the 6th. Left-hander. Got him.
Best unis in baseball right there. You're looking at them. 6-2 Nats as we go to the top of the 7th inning. You can join the Nats in Boston as they play the Red Sox. Who else would they play? In their opening series with the Nationals Destination Travel Package. Your Nationals Destination Package includes game tickets, hotel accommodations, and a VIP ballpark tour. That would be awesome at Fenway, right? Visit nationals.com/destinations for details and to book your trip today. We'll be there.
An interesting early season schedule. Rich Hill, a starter, reliever in his big league career. Started things in Chicago with the Cubs. Andrew Romine, the first baseman, will lead off against him. Top of the 7th. Romine, 227 and just 94 games for the Tigers last year. Switch hitting infielder. And after Hill got ahead, that one upstairs.
I just like having power lefties like the Nats have coming out of the bullpen. Thornton, Hill, guys that can overpower you. He's a 3-pitch guy. He'll cut the fastball like he did right there, but last year his fastball averaged 90 miles an hour. Curveball he throws 52% of the time, so throws the curveball actually more than the fastball. And there it is.
Oh, what a frisbee that was.
Well, he threw the cutter in before that, so now as a hitter, you're thinking, well, he's going to pound me with that cutter. And you see the emergency hack right there. Just a delayed reaction, kind of gave up on the curveball, knew it came back for a strike, and tried to fire off a swing. It was too late.
Matt Scola's over at third base. And the hitter, Hernan Perez, who started the game at short. And he goes heater. Man, that thing looks pretty quick after that sweeping curveball. 2 swinging strikeouts here.
That first strikeout with the curveball, this one with the fastball, so kind of went a different route to Perez. Both worked nicely. See the tardy swing? Both swings really tardy. Keeping them guessing.
Dixon Machado now, the third baseman. Low in the zone. 1 ball, 1 strike. Dixon Machado, single A, double A for the Tigers last year. 252 at Lakeland, 305 at Double A Erie. That ball will hook and be out of play.
Nice catch.
Yes, sir.
Give it to the kid. Give it to the kid. One more. Give it to the kid. Check out the catch. Nice effort right there.
Either of them could have caught that FP.
Yeah. Hey, kid, he's bummed.
Come on.
Did you give it to him yet?
I hope that's Dad.
Oh, yeah.
He's got the ball.
Cool.
Well done, sir. Related or not. Trying to catch that outside corner, and Hill just left it away. Rich Hill, a couple of games with the Angels last year, 14 with the Yankees on his comeback trail. Got him on the inside corner.
Nice inning.
What an exhibition of location here in Central Florida. A couple of swinging strikeouts, a taken third strike, a brilliant play by a Tiger fan. More importantly, the little guy ended up with the baseball. It's a nice half inning.
Six to 2 Nats. We are cruising into the bottom of the 7th inning. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, is now available. Join the millions of subscribers and watch every out-of-market game live in true HD on over 400 devices. Visit MLB.TV for details.
New pitcher. Right-hander Rafael Dolis.
Two-pitch guy, fastball slider. He's got a big fastball to average 95 miles an hour in 2013 for the Cubs.
Hurt last year. 4 games at AAA Fresno. And Emmanuel Burris trying to bunt. A swinging bunt for a strike. There's Manny out of Woodrow Wilson High School. He was the first District of Columbia public school player to make it to the major league since Willie Royster back in 2001. That's when he came up with the Giants in 08.
Did you hear what the Nats are doing for all Little League baseball teams in D.C. this year?
Let's hear it.
They're all Nats. They're all going to be the Nationals. Different colored unis.
Very cool.
Yes.
Nice. Whole bunch of folks. The board of directors from the Nationals Youth Baseball Academy were down here Monday, and Ian Desmond took time out of his work to speak to that group. Ian's been very active over there. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
what a great idea.
Who are you playing today?
The Nats.
Who are you playing tomorrow?
The Nats. Who you play for?
The Nats. I like it.
That is so neat.
And Saturday at the ballpark, the Nats are holding national anthem auditions. The first 50 candidates to show up have been invited to perform at Nats Park. Carp, I think you should go over
sorry
there.
to miss that.
I think you should go over there on Saturday and be like Simon Cowell.
They'd have 81 home games and 2 people chosen.
I mean, that would be, I guess, entertaining at the very least.
Yeah.
You are not through to the next round. Sorry. Thanks for coming.
Our buddy Tom Davis will have his hands full with that.
Feel for you, buddy. Well, who knows? Maybe.
Does Tom Davis's chair turn around after a few seconds if you made it?
Does he have noise reduction headphones that he could put in for some? No, I bet you there's some good ones.
Oh, I bet you there are too many, and they've got to cut them down a little bit to get to 81.
Now, see, now you're backpedaling. No, there's not.
No, it's just a good thing I'm not a judge. I don't go for the whole a cappella American Idol thing.
I want to know how many make it out of the 50. That's what I want to know.
Well, there's 81 home games, all of them.
I'm going to go Las Vegas on you and say 4.5.
Now, if I'm handling that, I'm leaving at least one day a week open for D.C. Washington.
Oh, he should sing
He's
everyone.
amazing.
Especially the big games.
He's our guy.
I'm pretty sure the Nats are 400-0 when he sings the national anthem.
He is awesome. Is it Drew Vedelson? We've seen him in a couple of ball games this spring. Drew is from Kitsap, Washington. Came over in a deal, the Jose Lobaton deal, actually, with the Rays. With Jose and left-handed pitcher Felipe Rivero in the Nathan Carnes transaction. And we'll get to see our old buddy Steven Souza Jr. hopefully with the Rays this year, playing them home and away. I'm sure he and Jordan Zimmermann might have something to talk about. Home and homes, 2 each with the Rays and the Yankees. The interleague schedule keeps getting different all the time. And I think the Orioles, it's back to 3-3 home and home. Highlights of the schedule in 2015. Mets April 6th. On to Boston after Philadelphia. There's the home and home with the Yankees.
Ooh, I don't know if I love that late season matchup with the Orioles. That's going to be a big one.
I wouldn't want to play the team they had last year in September. I know that.
Oh, that'd be good. They're always good.
I mean, that's really late for interleague. 3rd week of September. Wow.
Man, nothing like reading a good book on a sunny day at a ball game.
Yeah, that's the baseball rule book for 2015.
It is.
A lot of pictures, color illustrations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you can't read it, wear it.
or eat it.
Or eat it.
2-2 pitch. Well hit to right by Vedelson. And that ball is off the top of the wall. No, it's a home run. Drew Vedelson will give him a see you later as a minor league guy invited to the big league camp. And they are dancing in the streets in Kitsap, Washington right now. Good for him.
Well, he's having good swings that whole at bat. Nice short compact swing, caught her out front. It's a home run anywhere.
Had to wait and see for the umpire signal. Gary Cederstrom. There's 2 walls out there. The higher one's behind the lower wall. You used to have to hit it over the upper wall to get it out of here, but they put the yellow line in there a couple of years ago.
Check out the swing one more time. Fastball right down Broadway. And Vedelson was all over it. Line drive out of here. Almost knocked down that blue sign. Way to swing it.
That was Clint Robinson with that ground ball. And now we get to see Sandy Leon. Drew Vedelson. What a nice throw for him. Sandy Leon, 10 for 64 with the Nats last year. Hit his first big league home run at Miami, April 14th against Brad Hand. That was early when Wilson Ramos was hurt. In the air to left, and that will be very shallow for the out. Jason Krazan with that catch, and we're going to the 8th inning. The Nats tack on a run and lead 7-2.
7-2 Nats. This one is heading to the top of the 8th inning. Let's check out the day of Rich Hill. It was, let's see. How was it? Come into a big league game, and how about a nasty curveball for strike 3? How about a fastball? A little speed him up, Peter, for strike 3. Another backdoor hammer. Gets Machado looking. Nice day for Rich Hill.
And Drew Vedelson with the home run. He stays in right field. Top of the 8th inning, left-handed pitcher Felipe Rivero for the Nats, 23 years of age. 3 different levels of the organization last year, right down here in the Gulf Coast League. 1 game at Hagerstown and then 10 games at Harrisburg, where he had a 4.12 ERA. 6'2", 195. Felipe Rivero from Yaracuy, Venezuela. Josh Wilson has gone the distance at second base for the Tigers, and he leads off in the 8th, outside ball 1. And beyond the reach of the second baseman. Wilson aboard, leading off the 8th. Daniel Fields, the center fielder. Lefty-lefty matchup, good fastball. So Fields 8 for 15 with a couple of homers and 4 RBIs.
They're having a big spring for the Tigers.
He's on their 40-man roster. Rookie ball, AA, AAA last year. He had 6 homers, drove in 26 in 75 games at Toledo. Detroit native. Can't ever watch the Tigers play without thinking of Ernie Harwell. I know you grew up listening to Ernie up there.
I did, and I'm right there with you, partner.
He was the one guy, he and Vince Scully, to me, are the 2 guys, and maybe Harry Kalas as well, who sounded the same at the end of their careers as they did when they were in the prime of their careers. They just, the delivery and the voices just never changed. They never got old.
And the things that Ernie said never got old.
That foul ball was caught by F.P. Santangelo of Ypsilanti. He'd make up a hometown in Michigan and give somebody credit for a foul ball. Catch.
You know, it's weird that you say that. You know, growing up in my early years in Livonia, Michigan, and being a Tigers fan as a kid. And listening to him on summer nights and remembering the static of the thunderstorms through the radio, interfering with Ernie Harwell's voice, and I'd be upset about the thunderstorms because I couldn't hear Ernie. But I just put that. You remember that patch we got a couple of years ago when we were in Detroit? The one that they were wearing on their uniforms? I just put that up on my wall in my condo the other day in D.C. I found it in the drawer from, I think it was when we played the Tigers last. And it's got a microphone on it. It's a white patch, and it says EH, and it's got a microphone on it. So that's on my wall at home.
And as great as an announcer as he was one of the most wonderful men you would ever come in contact with. Cared about people, a lot of charity work. At Old Tiger Stadium, he had chicken wire in front of the radio booth because that thing was literally right up behind home plate. And I asked him one day when I went in there to do a game, Ernie, why do you have the chicken wire? He said, because I'm chicken. I mean, at Old Tiger Stadium, I bet that booth wasn't more than 60 or 70 feet up right behind home plate. Those just one of the most golden voices ever.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned him.
Oh, 2 with 1 out. Little bouncer left side on the charge. Matt Skoll, bare hand, and he throws it off angle. The runner from second will go to third. Runners at the corners with one out.
I think you got to give that one a hit all the way. Oh, they put an error on the scoreboard. That would have been a heck of a play had Matt Skoll made that. I mean, the runner was already past the base right there. He wasn't even in the pitcher, so that has to be a hit.
Well, I think they're giving a hit and an error.
Okay.
Because you had to account for the runner going from second to third, so there's the error. So I think they got it right.
Yep.
Although they haven't posted an error, but you have to if the other base runner gets an extra 90 feet. So spring training. Official scores getting their work in. Manny Pena, the catcher. Rivero and the Nats would love a ground ball here. 2 on, 1 out. Outside, ball 2. Felipe Rivero on the mound, and Dan Kolko has more.
Guys, the Nats got Rivero last spring in the Jose Lobaton trade. The one that you mentioned earlier, Bob, the one that sent Nathan Karns to Tampa Bay. So Matt Williams and his staff have now had 2 springs to look at the young left-hander. And I asked Williams earlier today what he's seen from Rivero. He says his stuff is phenomenal. His issue has always been making sure that he throws enough strikes. And so far this camp, the Nats have been pleased with the amount that Rivero has been over the plate. They tweaked his pre-outing routine to provide a little more structure for him, which they think will help him develop some consistency. Williams says Rivero's stuff is dynamic. There's no question about that.
Jam the right-handed batter, and then Wynn's going to blow that thing way out of play.
His frame kind of looks like Liriano a little bit, and his delivery.
They list him 6'2", 195. He'll be 24 on the 5th of July. Ground ball to short. Over to grab it. Burris. And a nice exchange by Cutter Dykstra. The 6-4-3 will send this game into the bottom of the 8th inning. The Nats out hitting the Tigers 9-7, leading 7-2.
Been all Nats here today, 7-2, heading to the bottom of the 8th inning. And guess what this year is, folks? 10th anniversary season at Nats Park. It's going to be packed with fun giveaways, events, and special occasions. Promotions include 5 bobbleheads, each of those representing a magical moment in Nats history. The Jason Worth Chia Pet, Anthony Rendon Garden Gnome, that'll go quick. And events like 10-year Tuesdays and Star Wars Days. Tickets are going fast for the biggest games of the season. Visit Nationals.com to get your tickets right now.
Right-hander Alberto Cabrera. Trying to make the team as a non-roster guy. First up, a young man we've been hearing about, Kila Kaiahui. Long home run on the road last weekend. He's in left field for Tyler Moore. And this ball will send the right fielder, Winton Bernard, into the corner for the first out. He's from Kailua, Hawaii. Played in Japan last year and hit .333 in just a couple of ball games, but an intriguing combination of power and size.
Yeah, that spot in the order hit the ball hard all day with not a whole lot to show. Tyler Moore lining out a couple of times deep, and Kaiahui, just because I wanted to say it, lined out deep to right there.
You nailed it.
Thank you.
Cabrera, 26 years of age. On 32 games combined for the Cubs the last 2 seasons. This ball is fouled away. Fans are scrambling a bit. We've got some rain falling in Vieira. There were various opinions in the press box this morning on when rain was supposed to happen. We heard everything from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock. So here we are at 3:40 local and some sprinkles coming down. Second at bat for Nate McLouth, who saw a lot of pitches and then struck out looking on a fastball his first time up.
A lot of pitches, a good thing.
Laces one to right field. Nate McLouth on the stat sheet here in spring training.
Right, nicely done. 1-1 count. Gets a fastball right down the middle. Pulls it through the hole into right. Good swing. Like he didn't miss a day.
One on, one out. Matt Skoll. Three for 8. Couple of RBIs. And Cabrera running one outside. Over but low, ball 2.
I've said it the first 2 broadcasts, I just love Skoll's setup. I love how he stands in the box. He looks so comfortable. The body language is oozing confidence. I like the way he has that flat bat up high, little slightly open stance. And just a little toe tap and go.
Yeah.
That's a good swing, man.
Effortless, fluid. 14 homers, 68 RBIs.
I like
at Double-A Harrisburg last year.
I like the toe tap for the rhythm. I'll show it to you on the next swing, too. It kind of starts a little bit more spread out than what it does. It kind of gathers you and gets your weight back to go forward. So he's real spread out right now with the lower half. And then watch his little toe tap right here. Bring it back and then go.
And it goes, and it goes. See you later. Matt Skoll to right field. And the Nats lead 9-2.
Guy can hit. He hit this level too.
It's only the Nationals' 5th home run of the spring.
See, he gets back and gathers himself, and look how slow it all is. Boom, wait. Little rhythm into the swing, launch mode. And this ball was powdered.
And I mentioned last broadcast that I thought he would be this year's Steven Souza Jr.
You remember the eyes he opened up in camp last year. And
good call. That was Jeff Coburn, his first at bat. 2 down on the liner to second. Of the Nationals relievers listed, there's one left. Manny Del Carmen. I expect to see him in the top of the 9th.
Expect to see Matt Skoll in D.C. this year sometime. I don't know how, but that swing is a big league swing.
(9-2) Nats. They came into this game in 6 games scoring 24 runs and giving up 24. A lot of offense today. Got started with 2 runs in the first and the second with Wilmer Defoe in the middle of both rallies. Desmond and Zimmermann RBIs. They've never looked back. That's it. Down goes Dykstra. Top of the 9th coming up. 2 more for the Nats. They've had 3 2-run innings and just dominating the Tigers.
Well, if you're just joining us getting home from work, how about a little game summary? Nats up 9-2 as this one heads into the top of the 9th inning. Drew Vedelson hit a tater to right. Matt Skoll hit a tater to right. So the kids are all right. What about the veterans? Let's check out Jordan Zimmermann's day. Last time we saw him on the tube in the regular season, he did okay, and today he did okay too. Just a nice little workout for Jordan today. Just good to see him on the mound. Good to see him pitch again. And he did his thing. All strikes.
Well, Matt Skoll, that had to feel sweet. No doubter to right field, and here we go to the top of the 9th inning. It's Manny Del Carmen for the Nats. In camp with this ball club for the 2nd straight year. AAA Syracuse all last season. 46 appearances, .313 ERA. We will be back with you on Masson Monday afternoon. The Nats and the Houston Astros. In the air, right center. Coburnis and Vedelson. The kid hit a homer. Let him make the catch. 1 out here in the ninth. And if the rotation remains the same, we'll have Jordan Zimmermann's next start.
Well, we're okay with that.
He's always good TV.
Always good to catch a flight, too.
I hear storms are moments away. You better not jinx that. Fastball in there. Steven Moya now the DH.
Saw big Dave Winfield in the dugout today. And even though he was a right-hander, this guy's every bit as big as Dave Winfield was.
Yeah. And I talked about Tony Clark earlier. Tony's what, 6'7", 6'8" in his days with the Tigers and the Diamondbacks.
It's just hard for guys with long levers like that, long arms, tall guys to have consistent swings. That's why you get the short arms, you get your barrel in the strike zone more consistently, but there's a lot going on with the bigger guys. They usually have longer swings.
0-2 pitch, and it drifts outside. So the Nats about to go 4-3 on the spring, trying to win their third game out of 4 here at Space Coast Stadium. You win your home games, you got a chance for the Grapefruit League Championship. Swing and a miss. 2 down.
That's a good pitch right here. A fastball down the way. That one had a little late zip on it. And we talked about the tall guys with long swings. Thing is, when those long swings catch up to it, they go far.
Bouncing ball right side. Big hop. Cutter Dykstra stays with it, and the Nats win it 9-2. Their pitching staff gives up 3 hits after the 4th inning. Ball game that went 2 hours and 34 minutes. And the Nats continue to win here at Space Coast Stadium. We're back with a wrap-up in a moment. Good day for the Nats offense and the pitching staff.